Hey, good afternoon. It's Brandon, and I'm here. I'm going to do a quick review of the DJI Phantom 4 that I recently got. And I'm going to go through a couple of quick little things, show you the quadcopter itself, and then kind of just discuss my personal feelings about the Phantom 4. So let's go ahead and dig right into it. Right here I actually have my DJI Phantom 4, and it comes in a really cool little case right here. Open it up and pull it right out of the box here because I want y'all to be able to see what it looks like after a couple of flights with it. It's about 100 to 110, upwards of 115 here in Phoenix on some days, so it really just depends. I can only fly it for a very limited time, and only when it's probably either early in the morning or in the evening as the sun is setting. But that said, here she is. She's actually performed really well, and I know DJI doesn't suggest that you fly above, I think, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, but I did do a quick 8-minute or 9-minute flight when it was just about at 113 the other day. Flew it direct from cold, so it was in my car in the air conditioning. Basically took it out, flew it, put it right back into the car, checked all the temperatures and levels and sensors and everything afterwards, and on the flight logs, and everything was within normal operating range, so there was no issues with that, so that's awesome. This is the Phantom 4 right here, and this is the front part of it, so you can see your lenses right here for your computer vision. Obviously you have your 4 motors with your counterclockwise step-in props for it, and then you have your gimbal right there. So on the underside of it, you can see that you do have your all other computer vision, or your eyes right here. These allow to see in stereo, so it can tell where it's at and what's below it exactly. And then these are going to be your visual positioning, which kind of works similar to like, I guess, sonar or something like that. So it basically bounces a sonar signal off. So that only works when you are above ground, about 10 to 15 feet, I believe. So it does work well though if you're trying to fly indoors and you don't have a GPS signal, and you want to make sure that you can see that. So it does kind of help with that. So that said, I came from a Phantom 3, and I had the Phantom 3 Standard when that came out. Then a little later I got the Phantom 3 Pro, and that was quite a step up from the Standard in the sense of the range and the remote and everything, and I really enjoyed that. But there was a couple things that was lacking: the obstacle avoidance, the kind of the differentiating feel of the quadcopter itself, as far as for the aesthetics and things like that, compared to some of the newer models of other type of quadcopters that have come out in between. So with the Phantom 4, they really have come out and they've really stepped forward, and I feel like with this, it is definitely a step up from the Phantom 3 Professional. There's a couple of major differences that I really didn't expect when I originally had got this and was going to do the review. I was kind of hesitant because I had the Pro and it was not that old in comparison to the 4, and really I didn't see a lot of huge differences. But I can tell you off the bat that the Phantom 4, as aesthetically wise, is actually much cleaner and it just feels better. I don't know how to explain it. The plastic's tighter, it's a lot smoother, and it feels more sturdy to the touch. It just feels like it's a better quality plastic composite, I believe. So even as far as for the things like the case itself, so the fact that this came in this awesome foam case made it so I didn't have to go right out and purchase a backpack or purchase an external case or anything like that. This actually goes right with you. You can actually fit right inside here too. I'll show you. You can actually fit two additional batteries. So you can fit one right here, and then one right here and one right here underneath this when you take this out. So that's actually a really cool little thing. You can fit pretty much everything you need right here in this little this little box right here, and it's got the nice lock on it, so you don't have to worry about that. And the fact that it has a handle makes it nice. It's very ergonomic, and it does fit in most, I believe actually all airplane overhead cabins and things like that. It fits well in the back seat of the car. Don't keep it in your car for extended periods in the sun or the heat, but it does fit well into the car, packages really well, and overall just a really great holding device for your drone. So back to some of the things that I really wanted to kind of talk about in regards to the functionality of the Phantom 4 versus, say, the Phantom 3. So right off the bat, the big thing is the multiple, what we are calling the computer vision or the obstacle avoidance sensors. So what those are the cameras on the front and the cameras on the bottom. Basically, it lets the drone itself see in stereo vision, so it can actually see what is in front of it and below it, versus the previous models, which really didn't have the ability to do that. So what some of the cool things are is that you can actually go in and you can turn the settings on, and you can make it so that when you're doing your different modes and different things, that it will automatically go around obstacles. It'll automatically stop, and it'll automatically prevent you from running into things. So overall, it's worked really well in my testing. I haven't really had any major accidents with it or anything like that. One thing I can tell you is it's not going to see like your power lines and phone lines and things like that. So you do have to be cautious and be mindful of that, because I mean, it's possible it may see it, but by the time it does see it, it's probably going to be too late. So just make sure that you're mindful of that. As far as for maybe if there's a big metal pole with lines attached to it, or a phone line with the different cables and things running off, and it was big and bulky, it probably would be able to see that going at it. But you don't really want to risk that. So what I can tell you is that I did test running into the front of my house and side of my house and several trees, and I took it over to the cornfields and ran it towards that. All stopped right before it hit it and avoided the obstacle, and it worked really well, and I was really quite impressed with that. I wasn't about to throw it at full speed and go full head on into something that I thought was going to cause damage, but I tried to make it as real as possible, and overall it really worked well. So that for me is a huge difference from the Phantom 3. Some of the other things are minimal, and they're more software related, which is going to be a combination, I guess, of the software and the hardware. So with the vision sensors, it allows it to have that computer vision. So you can do things like the active track, which is a really cool feature. So before it had follow me mode, which basically it would follow the remote, which is great, but you would have to have the remote with you. So if you're trying to, say, film, maybe say you're trying to film a car scene, car chase or something like that, or just a car driving away into the distance. Well, before, with the Phantom 3 previous models, you would have to actually be in the vehicle with the remote and hope that it could get the right signal, which a lot of times it wouldn't get the signal with the metal. It would end up causing interference and other things like that. Well, with the Phantom 4, it actually allows you to select an object itself, and then it will follow that object and go, and you can, as long as you have connectivity from the remote to your quadcopter, you can actually manipulate the camera and the adjustments as need be, which is a really cool feature for doing filming and doing different shots and things like that. Also built into that is it has the obstacle avoidance. So if you do have it set to, say, follow something, and there is an obstacle or something that comes into the way, it will go ahead and go around that. Instead of just stopping, it'll actually go around and try to find the best way. I didn't have a chance to fully test that, as I wasn't really ready to try and drive through trees or anything like that, but it does have that option, and it will tell you on the screen if it thinks that there's an obstacle coming up, and you can either manually move it, or it will automatically do it. And you can turn those settings on or off in the settings menu too as well. As far as for picture quality, for me, I don't know if it's just because I feel like it's a new quadcopter versus the Phantom 3, but for me, I feel like the picture quality is a little bit better. I probably have to take a look at some of the details to see if there is any difference between the model Phantom 3 Pro that I had and this. But from my understanding, the camera is almost identical, if not identical. But I did notice that I like the way that the gimbal itself actually sits up in there, so it seems to be a little more sturdy and not have as much maybe wobbly or vibration like you would get with the other Phantom 3. So it seems like the dampening is a little softer on here, and it seems to be a little better for handling windier conditions and things like that. And then the other thing that I really think is a really cool feature is the fact that it has the sport mode, or speed mode as some people are calling it. And you know, it just is a cool mode that you can use for filming quick moving vehicles, or doing a quick shot over something that you want to shoot at maybe a higher speed and then replay in slow-mo. There's a lot of different potential reasons for it. You could potentially do FPV with it if you really wanted to do some kind of a FPV going through something using goggles or something like that if you had that. But I don't really see that being much use for that. Really, the speed option is really just to kind of play and get it going fast and really just have that awesome maneuverability. So when you are in the speed sport mode, obviously the sensors to stop the drone not active, the things like that aren't really going to stop it. The obstacle avoidance isn't going to be in effect. So you do have to keep that in mind. If you fly it at full speed into the side of a building, it's going to go full speed to the side of a building. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Other than that, some of the other features that I really like, which are really good for both the Phantom 3 and the Phantom 4, for any of the Phantoms if you have or haven't had it, is the return to home feature, the ability to automatically return to home if the signal's lost. You can adjust where that home point is in space in real time on the remote or the iPad. If you do lose connectivity with your iPad, iPhone, or mobile device, or whatever you're using for your visual side, you usually will still have control with the remote itself physically. So say your iPad or mobile device dies or crashes or whatever from whatever reason, you should still be able to navigate and take the drone back home automatically, or manually, either one. So some of the things like that, the ability to adjust their trim, the ability to adjust the yaw and the camera movements, and really just all the different camera capabilities that are in it. You can shoot in RAW, on photo, and you have all the different options for your video. I like to shoot at either 2K or 4K at 24 frames a second, just because it gives a little smoother shot to it. But you can also use different filters from the Phantom 3 series on the Phantom 4, which is a great thing. So if you want to use your polarizer filters or your ND filters, those will work too as well. So overall, I am quite impressed with the Phantom 4. There really aren't any issues that I've had with it as far as from updating and things like that. One thing I can tell you is if you are looking to understand the difference maybe between the Phantom 3 and Phantom 4 in some of the aspects, is the Phantom 4 does have a micro USB port on it now on the front versus a regular one, and I'm sorry, on the side versus a regular or older version USB port. And what that does is that's now how you will actually upload the firmware. So you basically will go from your tablet or your phone directly into there. So that way there's no issue of connection messing up or going through wireless. It actually transmits it that way, which is actually kind of a nicer way. I did run into some issues previously with my standard and with my Phantom 3 Pro, where updating the firmware was kind of a little bit of a pain because it didn't really take the upgrade, or maybe there was a signal loss or something like that, and I had to redo it again. So far with this one, my first firmware upgrade was flawless. It was perfect. Yeah, other than that, a couple other things I like about the app itself is that it does show you your different IMUs, your IMU1 and IMU2. It shows you if they are out of whack, if one is reading different than the other one, and if you should update it or calibrate it or not. On the Phantom 3 Standard and Pro, I don't remember seeing that in anywhere in my settings, so I don't know if that was a new software update or that's specific to the Phantom 4, but I can tell you that that is some really good information that's in there. So other than that, I mean, overall overall I really enjoy the Phantom 4. I can't wait till it gets a little cooler so I can fly it a little bit more. And the only gripe that I would have is that the batteries and some of the other maybe things that you would use, obviously props and things like that from your Phantom 3 or Phantom 3 Pro, obviously aren't going to work with this. So I had, I think, 6 batteries, I had like 5 sets of props, I had all kinds of things like that for my Phantom 3 Pro, and when I got the Phantom 4, it basically was all null and void. There's no backwards compatibility. But the batteries are going to be coming down in price, and as with any new model, that's just kind of how it is. It's kind of like with the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 5. If you had the 4, it had the old school connector. With the 5, it has the nice little lightning connector. That's kind of just how it is, and that's just one of those things that we kind of expect with some of these higher end quadcopters. But realistically, that's the only gripe that I have, and I may be a Phantom fanboy. I've really been a big fan. I've flown a lot of little quadcopters, a couple of some other mid-range, like the CX20 or Nova 20, and those were really kind of more strictly hobby. So for somebody that wants to tear something apart, or anytime they crash it and fix it, because you're gonna crash it because the stability on those is not anywhere near what you'd see in the DJI products, and the build quality is just not there. So I can tell you that the Phantom 4 stands up to anything else that's out there on the market. Overall, I really do enjoy the Phantom 4. I think that it is a great purchase. I think that if you're looking to either get into photography, videography, or anything like that related to drones or quadcopters, this is the place to go as far as for a quality, amazing video, and just amazing overall functionality. This is going to be the drone for you, because I just can't imagine spending $1,400 on anything else and seeing the same effects and seeing the same quality out of anything else. Even, like I say, even the uniques and things like that, those are going to be a little more advanced, and they're going to take a little bit more to maybe get used to, and then you're still going to spend a lot more money on that. And so overall, I really do appreciate the Phantom 4. I think it's an amazing product, and I'm really happy that I got a chance to do it. My camera actually died right as I was in the middle of recording. I didn't even realize that, so I'm just gonna do a quick little follow-up. Basically, what I was getting to is that I'm gonna try to upload as many videos and show you as many video samples of different things that I've done with it, and this is just part of one of the many videos that I'm going to probably do in regards specifically to the Phantom 4. So just make sure that you keep watching and look an eye out for those. And other than that, I just want to say thanks again for watching. And if you did like the video, make sure you like it and you mark it as being helpful for you. Other than that, thanks again. I appreciate everything, guys, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.